Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. I hope you're having a great weekend and that if you're here in the US and you celebrated Thanksgiving, it was wonderful, and wherever else you are, that you're doing well too. Zeus and the kitties and I have been crafting like crazy, and Mr. Crafting and Relaxing is on his way home. But I realized, thanks to Brenda Lane, big shout out to her for reminding me, I didn't tell you about my craft fair. So I'll give you some backstory in case you're new here. I did a craft fair for my second year in a row. It's a very small one in a tiny community, not even a real city. And last year was my very first one. It was not something I'd ever set out to do, but it's a family friend that asked me, and so I did it. And I had so much fun last year because my mom, my dad, a bunch of family friends, my neighbors, Janie and Eileen visited me, so subscribers came and met me. Mary came and met me. I mean, we had a great time. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this again. So I did it this year, and one thing that was really interesting to me, it was still great, but a craft fair in the same place with the same table, not the same. My sales, believe it or not, turned out, I think, almost identical. The year before, silly me, I am a numbers person and no better. I mixed the money I brought for change with the cash I had in my purse. So I had to kind of guess how much cash did I have in my purse at the end of the day, because I just threw it all in there when I was packing up. So this time I was super careful, and any money that I had, I counted in there. So, but I think it was literally, I got the exact same to the dollar. It was crazy. So anyway, but the mix of what I sold was totally different. And I didn't make very much video, and I don't think I made video of my setup, except it showed in, I don't know, some video on my channel recently. I don't buy stuff for my table. Last year I spent $7 on, I think you call them binder rings on Amazon, so I could hang them on the rack. You'll see when I put the video in. There's a wine rack, believe it or not. My friend Andrea gave it to me years ago to manage dog traffic in my yard. So last year I had to bring it in, wash the mud off of it, get it cleaned up. This year I just had to dust the cobwebs from my garage off. So there was a lot less setup. That was great. But the binder rings were the only thing I bought. I go through my house, and then my friends Andrea and Noni are so sweet to help me. They went through their houses. So my table did have different things on it this year, but I didn't buy a single thing. And that's how I roll. I know a lot of you do these craft fairs and you have big displays, and like our friend Beth at Bourbon Creek Crafts, shout out to her, right? If you've seen her craft booth, it is amazing. But they're operating at a different scale, and there's a return on that. For me, there's just not, and I don't want to store all that stuff. So the wine racks go in the garage against the wall for the rest of the year, and Zeus doesn't need them. He's going where his ball is. It does not matter what fencing you put up. He's going to get that ball. But he doesn't just run around, like he's not the garter that Wilson was, so it's not a frequent traffic thing. So my booth is, or my table, it's just a table. The craft fair that I go to, they provide the table and they provide a tablecloth. And Andrea came out early this year. It was super fun. She's so sweet. She came out early to start her adventure from a different tiny town. And we looked at, I think it was a green tablecloth, and decided that was kind of dark. So we put the sheet that I brought. Last year I used a tablecloth. We thought it was a little much for what I had going on this year. So we just used a sheet, and then I had a sheet on the back of my wine rack. Literally went through my closet. I of course have blue ones, but Noni and Andrea both liked the lighter things when I was experimenting last year. And I don't keep this stuff packed up all year. I just know, okay, those two sheets that I mostly don't use for anything, they're for like dogs, like cover the couch on the deck, or sometimes one of them is really light colored and I hang it up for shade, because the new deck cover, the way it hits, it blinds me about 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings in the summer. So I hang it up from 8 to 8:45 sometimes. That's it. So these are not items that I invested in, right? And this craft fair is required that everything is handmade. These are some very well established ladies who have been doing this PD Women's Club for years, and they have rules, and they don't even let you buy like Dollar Tree stuff and paint it or crafty stuff and paint it. It cannot be manufactured. It has to be handmade. So I'm really careful about what I put in my booth. And I know I've gotten a lot of ideas from you guys about, well, you could do this and you could do this. Maybe, but I'm going to stay in handmade paper craft. The first year I was there, a lady literally came around and walked through, and she's like, "You make all this by hand?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she looked and she asked me a couple questions. In that moment, I was really glad I didn't have a Cricut or a Silhouette or even an electric die cutter. I felt like I might have been thrown out. I mean, people use sewing machines and I use sewing machines, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I had a great time. I had pie, of course. They do pie and soups, homemade, like 20 of each. That's an understatement. I think they had 75 homemade pies in 40 kinds. And it's a fundraiser for their PD Women's Club. And then they have a small craft fair on the side of it in the fire station next door. So the table isn't very expensive. They put the table, they put the tablecloth. I have to be there at 7 a.m. and set up, and I stay till 3, and that's it. I'm not going to do a multi-day show up, 10 hours. Can't do it. Not happening. Mr. Crafting and Relaxing helped me load the car, and Andrea helped me unload the car, which was awesome this year. Big shout out. And Noni and Katie both came out and scoped it out too. And we have caught on to the fact that you should show up to this event with Tupperware, because then you can take your pie and your soup to go, or you could eat there. Like Andrea came early, so when they opened up at 9 a.m., there was some confusion. Some people thought it was 10, but it was 9. She went in, got first dibs on what she wanted, took her containers and went. So you could come for lunch, you could get dinner for later, or you could just come early and bail. And it's very affordable. And then there's tons of candy and baked goods too. So I was right next to the baked goods table again. I was not the restraint of the prior year. And I sold a ton of journals. It was a very different year. So last year I sold a ton of cards. I sold Christmas gift tags, and I didn't sell tassels either year. I don't know if I had them the year before. And then maybe some of those gift packs of ephemera, but that was really just to my friends, right? Eileen, Janie, Mary, I think some of you picked them up. So I didn't worry about those this year. I didn't even make any new ones. And in some cases, I gave them away to somebody who was perplexed by how to use the journal. I was like, here, take one of these, you'll have fun. So this year I sold almost no tags, either 2 or 4, literally either $1 worth or $2 worth. I sold a couple. No, I didn't sell any of the mini size $5 books at the fair. Oh, I did sell one that Andrea and I made in a class with a pink cover out. I was happy to sell that one, but the blue velvet ones didn't sell. And then I sold a bunch of journals, not many cards. The year before, I was selling cards like crazy, and it was kind of messy because I did cream envelopes for cream and white envelopes for white. This year, I just did white envelopes and kept it simple. And Noni and I both have concerns that people don't understand. I'm going to provide you an envelope because I don't put them on the back of it. And the reason I don't do that is because the way I store my cards at home and the way I get them in and out of the fair, that would like add at least probably a third to the storage space I need. So I keep my envelopes separate, I keep my cards together, but my signage probably needs to say with envelopes, at least on a Post-it. And I tried to make sure people saw them this year. They were on the table, like set aside. So selling more journals and less cards, way less work, way less rummaging around for envelopes and bags and all that. Just here's your journal, here's your bag. It was great talking to you. Bye-bye, have a good day. Much simpler. Totally different product mix. You would have thought I was in a different place. Same place, similar weather, little rain, not bad. So I did that. Then the reason I never made you a video was I decided, and I think I will do it again next year, to do a craft sale from my house, like a garage sale, if you will, when it's freezing cold, or some people would call it a pop-up sale. So what I did was I left in the morning, and then I asked Mr. Crafting and Relaxing to set up my tables in the garage. So he took my 4-foot and my 6-foot table out to the garage. The sale has an 8-foot table, so I had a little more space here at home. And then when I got home, I unpacked onto those tables. Now, I wasn't super sure about cold night, damp, uninsulated garage kind of thing. So I didn't like set out all the cards and prep my display in the morning, but I unpacked all my boxes onto the floor in the garage, then found my tablecloths, right, and kind of like set things up. And it was super handy because it was all consolidated. And then I put away a few things, like I figured I didn't need paper towels and masking tape and all that once I was set up. And that is on my checklist for the craft fair. Somebody made a really nice checklist, or I could send it to you if you need help. But water and snacks, and for me at my sale, it's freezing cold because it was in an old fire station. This year I didn't mess around. I was gonna wear my flannel lined jeans. Nope, I brought my snow pants. So after I got the car all unpacked, the snow pants are a little long because they're made to wear with ski boots. So after I got the car all unpacked, and probably around the time the sale started, I just put pants on over my pants. Was it weird? Sure. Did people notice? Nope, I don't think so. So I had my snow pants on probably until the afternoon, and then took them off when it got a little warm. Plus I didn't want to load the car in. It was great. That was a game changer for me because the year before I was freezing cold. My hands, my legs, everything that wasn't covered by the 3 or 4 layers I had on the top. So I still had 3 or 4 layers on the top. Then I had jeans, I think, and then I put my snow pants over them. And then I had tennis shoes because I didn't want to stand around in like my mud boots all day on cement. Not mud boots, but like super warm, like snow type boots because of my back. So I just think I have to do tennis shoes. So I did nice socks, and it was a game changer. The snow pants made it. So be sure you check your checklist, know your environment, zip ties, masking tape, some blank paper, some Sharpies, silly stuff like that. I bring all that. My signage isn't very good. It's just handwritten, and I'm fine with that. And so blank paper and Sharpies help me if I lose something on the way or I can't find it. So I set all my stuff up. One thing that I am thinking about for next year is smaller containers for the cards. You'll see in the video when I place it in, let's pretend I do it right now. Right now, the video is going to pop in. You're going to see my booth. The containers for the cards are very long, and I think that confuses people because they don't see the little divider that says birthday or thinking of you. And only I had 4 total cards, so only 4 people can look at cards together. Lots of times, you know, you go to a craft fair with your family or a couple other people. So I think if I had birthday separate and Christmas separate and thinking of you, and they were clearly labeled when you're standing above them, you can see the labels in the video, but I don't think the average shopper sees them. The other thing that was really different about this year, and Noni said she heard me tell someone, so it's not that I forgot to say it. Last year, I sold a ton of cards off the wall. Like they would look at it and I would say, I only make one, so if you see something you like, be sure to grab it, or be sure to let me know and I'll grab it for you. I didn't sell a single card off the wall. I also got a ton of requests last year for Happy Thanksgiving cards. Didn't have a single one. I had maybe half dozen fall cards. This year, I made probably half dozen or dozen Happy Thanksgiving. I don't choose the cards for people. I let them touch and open journals and get into everything. But I didn't see anyone choose a Happy Thanksgiving card, and no one asked me for one all day. It was crazy. And last year I kept having to reset my table because I had random cards sitting out and they would buy them. I didn't sell very many cards this year. The other thing I adapted to based on what I knew about this sale from last year, my sale is on Veterans Day. So if you think about that, it's November 11th. People aren't Christmassy yet. So last year I had a cute little Christmas tree on my table. I had tons of Christmas cards, Christmas journals, Christmas stuff. I was thinking stocking stuffers with the little kits. Didn't sell at all. This year, I didn't make any new Christmas stuff. Maybe I did one winter or Christmassy set before the show and I added it in because I smashed it in a small pad, but no, I think it was just autumn. I had several smashes of autumn stuff, I think, and those were in there. And a lot of you who do craft fairs a lot have said, like one of you left me a really sweet comment and said journals that are red or blue or green or gold sell better and they're plain. I'm a ways from that because, my friend Noni bought tons of printed paper and I love printed paper and we have a lot to use up. So I'm probably a year, 2 years from doing something like that. I thought I'd use all my paper in COVID. Isn't that funny? My coffee's getting cold. If you have tea or coffee, drink it. So anyway, it's just very different. What I sold, same place. My table was in the same spot, same hours. Still had a great time. My dad came out. He left with a big thing of pie. He was so happy. And like I said, crafty friends came. Mary didn't come to the sale, but she knew, I told her in advance that I was having that sale on Sunday. So she just came to the garage sale. Easier access, shorter drive. We got to talk more. The sale on Sunday, let me tell you about that. So I unpacked onto the table, set most things out, didn't really build my table. I don't know. Was I worried about spiders, dust? I don't know. And then Sunday morning, I opened, so my garage is right outside my craft room, and my craft room has its own heater. So I cranked up the heat, opened the door to the garage, and took off, that damp, cement, cold, miserable, took that off, and raised the temperature in the garage quite a bit because I get cold, Noni gets cold. I just didn't think it'd be fun. The day turned out beautiful. It was dry, thank goodness. There was a little bit of wind and it came in the garage a little because we opened both doors. I wanted it to be really light and I didn't want people to feel like they were like stepping into like a weird murder zone or anything. Have you ever gone by a sale and you're like, no, I'm not going in there? And we had a great time. It was more of like a hangout. Like, I think if I do it again, I should have coffee or tea in the garage because Sunny came. Sunny's a subscriber and she chimes in every once in a while. And so I met Sunny. Mary came. Kara. Oh, I hope I got your name right. I'm sure I did. I think it's Kara. So there's a junk journal subscriber that lives like one street over. So we had a great time talking to her. She sold a journal to Mary. I mean, we all just hung out. I think next year I'll bring out more chairs and we probably need hot beverages. And I only did it for 3 hours. It was noon to 3. We opened the garage door a little bit early. Next year, I don't think I'll do that. I think I'll just wait till like right till noon and tell our neighbors or other people that want to come, hey, you're welcome to come at noon. And Noni was sweet. She came over and helped me. She messaged me early and she's like, do you need some help? And I wrote back and I was like, why? Do you think I procrastinated and I'm not ready? I made my signs Sunday morning. I had it on Facebook and did I put it on Craigslist? I think I did. Saturday night. Like I put it earlier in the week, but I didn't put the address and stuff till Saturday night. And then I updated the pictures a little bit because I had some photos from before, but I wanted to be sure I had photos of product that was still available. So when I set up my tables, no, my tables weren't set up, but I just took pictures in the bins of like some cards and some journals and said, okay, because I didn't have great pictures before. I just had like a couple things laid out. Probably still didn't have great pictures. You know me. I was like, yeah, this will work or it won't. And then I painted a sign Sunday morning, cranked up the heat. So I had the heat going to dry the sign that was on the counter and put it out front. I was worried about rain, or the heat was going into the garage too. I was worried about rain. And I had this like vinyl-y thing that has cherries on one side. It was from a project Noni had. And I took it and I wrote craft sale 12 to 3. So that's what time my sale will be if I do it again. Or if Noni wants to have one, you can use the sign, Noni. The sign I painted doesn't have the address on it. It just says craft sale 12 to 3. And so I put that on, what's it called? not a horseshoe. You know what I'm talking about, the foldy thing that you use to make a table with when you're cutting boards, at the bottom of the driveway. So I was ready for rain, and that you could see really well. And then Noni encouraged me, and I went and put 2 cardboard signs like on the main drag. I don't know that those worked at all. Kara, you should tell me how you found the sale. I might have mentioned it actually on my channel before, so maybe that's how she found me. So maybe next year I won't even bother with those, because that was tricky. I already had my car out because I was trying to warm up the garage. Then I had to go drive in this loop by myself and jump out and put these signs up. And if you go to put up signs, bring a big stapler, bring duct tape, bring packing tape. Packing tape saved me because I used double thick cardboard, and the staples for my outdoor stapler weren't long enough, and some of the poles were metal, and so, and my duct tape ran out. So I just took packing tape and made like a giant X over my sign onto the pole. Worked great. And then I went back, of course, and picked up my sign because I'm not a litter bug. And it was super fun. 3 hours was plenty. Started to get a little chilly, and I think people got what they wanted. On Sunday, some other neighbors came. We met a bunch of people in our neighborhood, so that was really cool too. And I sold almost half of my Saturday sales again on Sunday. So does that make sense? So if you say Saturday was 100%, I sold 50% again on Sunday, which really what I'm trying to do is clean out the bins, because I want to make more stuff, and I don't want my done stuff to take up 4 shelves in my room. And it was. I sold a dozen journals that weekend, between Saturday, Sunday, and I think I mailed one out Monday. Can't remember which one of you picked one up, but somebody wanted a journal Monday. So I had over 20. I still have a whole bunch. And if you're interested, look on my Instagram or ask me about certain ones. You know, I said I was going to post on Etsy that Sunday or that Monday. I didn't end up getting that Monday off, I don't think. I can't remember. And Sunday was busy with the sale. So that's one thing about Sunday is you can't really, if you do that pop-up garage sale at your house, you can't really put your stuff away Saturday night. So I think that's okay though. I mean, my room wasn't clean. I had so much stuff to do anyway. And I've cleaned out a lot in my bins, had fun, talked to lots of people. The sale at home was super fun, just to hear, like, Sunny was going to a big estate sale, and I loved seeing Kara's journals, and Mary and I got to sit down, you know, with chairs and stuff. And at the craft fair, we don't get to do that. So it was really nice. And thanks to those of you who came and bought stuff, and I hope you love your treasures. And what else do you guys usually want to know? I can't think of anything else to tell you. So if you want, leave me questions or comments down below. If you have never done a craft fair, you might want to try it. I think a pop-up sale in your garage, if you don't have a YouTube channel, you're going to have to advertise it really well. And what you might want to do is you might want to turn it into an actual craft fair. Like if Katie and Noni and Andrea and I planned a little, or Kara could join us, we could have multiple booths. Now the problem with Kara and Noni and I is we sell the same products, right? Because that's what Noni said. She's like, I'm not going to bring my stuff over. Oh, the other thing that we did, you guys, but we didn't advertise it. I didn't put it in the ads on Craigslist and Marketplace. I had a table of free stuff. So when people came, I said, that stuff over there is free. And it was my go pile. My go pile gets weird. Sometimes it's textile. Sometimes it's 12 by 12. Sometimes it's 6 by 6. Sometimes it's a pile of ribbons. Sometimes it's eyelets. You never know. Stickers. It's whatever theme I went through in my room. It's what people gifted or happy mailed to me, or what I found for a journal I was going to make a year ago and then made the journal and forgot it. So it's tricky to give away. It's tricky to figure out what to do with sometimes. So we had one lady that was on a walk and took some for a classroom. We had another lady that took some. I don't know if any of our YouTube friends took some because maybe they were like, I got my own problems. Good try. But I would do that again too. I would have a table. It was only a card table because I had used my other tables, and then I had like boxes down below too. And one thing I would do if you're trying to do that is be sure you have bags or boxes, because the people that are out on a walk or whatever, they didn't know. My neighborhood's very walkable. Maybe yours isn't. It was kind of based on the idea of the art swap that Noni and I went to years ago. So just getting people to take stuff so it doesn't end up in a landfill and you don't feel guilty that you bought it, right? I will link to my video from last year so you can see my table setup. It is slightly different. The racks I used last year for my journals that held them up perfectly, I got questions about those. They were actually for dishes, like plates, and I borrowed them from Andrea, and she gave them away since then because she wasn't using them and she moved. So we had to get a different idea. And quite frankly, the racks were a little tricky for shoppers, and they were hard to like put them back in there while they were talking, and they're leaned over the table. And a lot of my audience is older, so the bins and tubs and barrels is probably a little better way to go. And I put towels in the bottom of them. You can't tell that, but I was trying to lift the products up. And there's shoe boxes, I know, fancy, under the sheet. I have a bunch of shoe boxes. I turn them upside down because the writing's usually on the top. And I go through my house and look for the earth tone ones. But if I had to, I'd use Brooks ones or whatever, right? Whatever color, it'll show through a little, but the world wouldn't end. So just get creative. You don't have to buy a bunch of stuff. And you and some friends could do a craft fair if you want. There are tons near me also. I haven't actually checked one of those out. I don't know, but I know I'm not a 2-day craft fair girl. So those are things I know about me. It is a long, tiring day. Be sure if you do it, you prep. The only things I really had to gather this year were I had to put the paper towels back in and a garbage bag, and had to get cash. I almost forgot to get change in advance. And next year, I don't think I'll do anything that involves change, because people don't buy one tag, they buy two. So I think I'll just sell tags, 2 for $1, and I won't bring any quarters, and it'll work out fine. I think that's it. I know this was a lot of rambling, but I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up, leave me comments, and if it was way too long, you know, those of you that have been around for a while, you could tell me, hey, that was too much information. I can handle it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.